All right, let's get some stuff out of the way first. I think what I'm going to do while I'm right here as well is probably get rid of this. Want to buy Shatport.
Warm wishes.
When do you think phase 3 will launch? End of July, maybe beginning of September. I mean, I have a feeling that maybe if they decide to do like 3 months of phase 2, then it could line up with like BlizzCon. But then that wouldn't really follow the timeline of the roadmap that we got. So I have no idea. Hella Thresh. Yeah, I think if I do Steam Vaults, that's what, 5 badges, and then I'd only need... Hey, what's up, Apathy? So, let me see. Oh, it's pre-Fox. Yes. I don't know if I'm going to get into any of these, but we'll try. Farming your trinket? Yeah. I'm trying to get into the heroic steam vaults for the daily because I'll get 5 badges out of it. But I don't think any of these groups are going to take me. Do, 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 do. Thank you for the follow. I even fucking listed? Nope. That would have probably helped. Man, I'm fucking exhausted. I got like 4 hours of sleep last night. I've been like up all fucking day. Nothing like a crisp Coke. What's your thoughts on the whole Camelot situation? I think it's real. I think what people have to understand when it comes to Camelot is, I think personally Camelot could be just an internal code name. Like Blizzard has been known to do that for basically any expansion, any project. And gaming companies do it that way so that if something does leak, like even if it does leak, players still don't know the true name of it, because like obviously like it could be its code name could be Camelot, but it could be titled something completely different. Like Classic Plus is like a flagship title in itself, and I find it really hard to believe that Blizzard would want to stray away from the Classic name in general. They would probably want to add something to it. Blizz tends to have project names based on myths, like Diablo 4 was called Fenris and Overwatch was called Prometheus. Yeah, so like, but I do think Camelot is Classic Plus just because of Steven. I didn't put it in my video. I should have. I saw it too late, but it's not too big of a deal because he didn't. I don't know if he linked his source or not. But I trust him. Obviously, he's a data miner for Wowhead. Below the post, he basically said that it's based on patch 1.6. So, I mean, that's pretty big. Wouldn't happen to have a tank set. I do not, unfortunately. He is his source. Yeah, I mean, that guy is basically his own source because, like I said, he's a data miner for Wowhead. But I just saw it a curiosity. Somebody commented below it and was asking for like a link of where he found it or something. But I mean, he doesn't really need one. I mean, he's literally a data miner for Wowhead. I'm hoping these guys don't kick me because I don't have a tank set. But I mean, it's not really big of a deal. I mean, like I said, I mean, Camelot in itself is huge, but the news that it's also based on patch 1.6 is also really huge. So, like I said, it's definitely for Classic Plus. I just don't think Camelot's going to be its true name. I do think it's a code name. How long does it take to get like a full Merciless starting from now and decent ratings? I have no idea. I don't know. I don't PvP much at all. I do not PvP. I'm pretty much just I'm just playing WoW pretty much for the PvE. Yeah, I don't even know if this group's going anywhere. You got the header, that's the PvE helm. That's the PvE helm. I have the token piece. I have the destroyer battle helm. Which is funny because in like phase 2 you don't really go for tier because the tier set kind of sucks according to Wowhead. But I probably honestly should be PvPing for some stuff, especially getting like honor. They left to join another group. Yeah, I don't know. Heroics are pretty cringe right now. I mean, I'm surprised because usually every night on this time I can find a group or any heroic, but I joined this group because they seemed like they were doing well and now they're fucking falling apart. But I don't know if this guy's advertising. Okay, there's one. Whatever, I'm just gonna start probably making my way there. Which server do you play on? I play on Night Slayer, but I think over time I'll probably make a Blood Elf Paladin on Dream Scythe just to kind of like chill on Dream Scythe and not really deal with PvP, because there are also a lot of streamers on Dream Scythe, and biggest is my brother's playing on Dream Scythe now.
Good fortune.
Probably wait until the group's full. But is he on? Let me see. Let me see something. I want to test something because I'm testing something with my stream too while I'm on stream. But I'm also in the future going to use some of my streams because there's not much like really going on in like TBC besides like raiding and stuff. But I'll probably use a lot of my streams going forward to maybe rip some of my VODs for like YouTube or something. But I want to test something, see how you guys. What's your thoughts? Looks relatively fine. But this will be for like talking and stuff, I think. And like pulling up like websites or something. Because I really like the... Maybe I should move it over just a hair. Probably like right there. I don't know. It seems centered. I think it's centered. I'm probably being a little OCD, but... Yeah, I think it'll be fine. But yeah, I also think too that photo that Jordy linked is also accurate because Jordy, I don't think Jordy would post something like that to try to like lead people in the wrong direction. I mean, I think that whole franchise slate photo that he leaked, or I shouldn't say leaked or showed, is true. I feel like everybody has been waiting for somebody from Wowhead or some website or just somebody in general to data mine something. And then the minute that somebody finally found out, you know, Camelot, the rest of the individuals that have information that they didn't want to leak themselves were like, finally, it's like happening. Now we're going to leak all this information too. Like, I feel like a lot of people didn't want to be first because maybe they didn't want to get in trouble by Blizzard or something. Because, like I said, there's a lot of content creators and people in the community that I feel like have gotten tidbits. I shouldn't say should have. They have gotten tidbits from Blizzard or some type of insider information, and they just don't want to be the ones to leak the information first. And... like I said, it wouldn't be super far-fetched for somebody like Jordy, the guy who made the fucking Classic Plus Project website, to, you know, be on the ins with Blizzard of knowledge. And like I said, it's not like those 5 creators are not the only 5 creators that have been in talks with Blizzard. Like those 5 creators, like I said on my last stream, went there physically, but there's a lot of other creators that are talking to Blizzard. Gonna dip, good luck. Are you fucking serious? Like, that was our tank, dude. I don't know. I don't even care if it's the fucking daily. I just want to get into some type of heroic. So apparently, according to Stiven, like I said, I'm while I sit here and try to look for a group, I'm gonna just kind of talk about Classic Plus. But I'm gonna split my screen. According to Stiven, see if this pulls up. He said this one is fake, but I couldn't resist trying out what Claude Design can make from a screenshot. Can't trust internet today. So the whole Camelot was a fake, just a picture. Camelot is real, the picture is fake. So I think this franchise slate is something that's made up. But it's also, I'm just wondering if he's talking about his own, because why would Jordy also leak this photo? So I feel like this is true, but then I feel like Stiven went and trolled kind of a little bit and made his own. Hold on. I think so. Let me turn on the baby camera. The fuck is this? Isn't working. Hello, hello. Please work. I think he's in his room. I'm just waiting for the camera to turn on. He means the specific one he made is fake, not the OG one. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He's in the baby room playing with what is he playing with? He's playing with some old snowman bag, looks like. So like, yeah, I think this is the true one. So like I said, for everybody that's new and like doesn't understand Classic Plus info and is trying to figure it all out and like what's going on with Camelot. So like again, Stiven, who is a data miner for Wowhead, found heroic and epic licenses for World of Warcraft. Camelot, that in itself says a lot. He also said that he can confirm 100% that it is patch 1.6, so that is something obviously to do with Classic Plus. And then Jordy came out with this franchise pick that has a Blizzard logo on it, and it basically says that Camelot, or I should say, Classic Plus, is slotted to happen Q4, so the end of the year. And Anniversary is going to progress into Wrath, and then it looks like that Anniversary is most likely going to turn into a fresh recycle server, like many have suggested. So, like I said, pretty big in itself. I'm gonna go back to my WoW screen, get rid of this over here. Will you buy the 3-day pass if that's a thing, Dookie? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I will do anything to get fucking like early access to Classic Plus. But I have a feeling, because like if they're doing it with Heroic and Epic licenses, it's probably gonna happen. Or like somehow give maybe create, like, I don't want to say give creators early access, but like I don't necessarily want that, but I do want to see if they do have it, like if the Epic version allows like a 3-day early access type thing. Like, yeah, I'm fucking completely buying that 100%. I'll do Botanica. Fuck it. 1861 DPS. See, my thing right now though is, because I will be on FMLA leave from most likely October, November, December. So like, I mean, it's going to be a lot with a newborn. That's fine. But like, I think it's going to work out in my favor too, because not only am I going to like plan for whatever Classic Plus is going to be, when they announce it at BlizzCon, I'll be at work that day. But like going forward into the future, I'll have, like, if Classic Plus is officially launching at the end of this year, then I will be free to basically go hard on it. Be well. So something that I did kind of, I'm just kind of scrolling through shit. I saw that Peekaboo reacted to, and he does hit on something that I am interested in talking about as well. And I'll bring it up on my screen here. Let me see. I'll go back to split screen. But if you look at what Peekaboo said, he's right too. Where like once they release this, there's nothing else planned. For like, if you look at it, the timeline, like there's no like obviously it doesn't show phases or anything, but it doesn't even show anything. So like that must mean they must have a bunch of content or something farmed for it already. How the fuck do I get out of this? Why can't I get out of this? Please, they're summoning me. Perfect. I think Botanica is... I don't know. I don't fucking remember. I think it's bottom left. Yeah, I think it's bottom left. But I'm just super hyped because it's like, I don't know. I just remember watching the State of Azeroth with on Eben's stream and just watching it and just being like, man, I hope they announce it. And then it never got announced, and that just, I don't know. For right now, it just is so surreal. Because it feels like the State of Azeroth for some reason was like yesterday, and here we are, in June with Camelot basically being leaked, and we're literally like we're under 3 months now away from, you know, BlizzCon, where everything is going to get revealed to us. And I'm super excited for it. Like, I know they're going to have a whole fucking Q&A panel lined up for it. I just know in the back of my mind that they are, because you can't hype it up as much as you can and not have it. Like, 12 more resets, baby. It's going to be dope. I keep forgetting I have to make like a display screen for my vertical, because when I do switch from my, like on my main encode, it obviously switches for like my 2 main platforms, but for like TikTok it doesn't. Do you use LVUI? I don't. I'm just using bartender and mask to get like the black backdrop on my buttons. UI is clean. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm a very OCD person. I mean, like I said, too, I've said this in the past that, I mean, everybody's going to do their UI in a way, but I don't know. I just feel like this is the most, I guess, cleanest for me. But it also works out in a way where I set it up too, because like it allows for like when I'm clicking on targets, everything is in the middle of the screen. So when I do my like side by side on YT videos, it works out perfectly, because like it basically cuts off like right here where my mouse is, and that's where my face is. I was gonna ask for your profile so I could copy it. Honestly, I should probably figure out how to export it, because when I do have 2 separate accounts, and it does get annoying whenever I make like new characters or like start over, and I do like the whole setup on one and then I swap accounts and it doesn't let me do it on the other, and I have to like do it manually. But I think there is an option somehow to do it. Maybe it's a little tricky, because I've heard from some people that you have to go into your like your files or something, because I don't think there is like an export option for bartender. Have you tried the new Siege of Lumbridge raid, Siege of Lumbridge, and they're adding Caverns of Arok January? I have not. I have not actually seen anything from RuneScape in a long time. But I do know, obviously, that like RuneScape and WoW players are like closely intertwined. I actually have a friend that he's playing hardcore right now. But he for like basically the entire time that I've known him, he's played like RuneScape, and he's gotten pretty big into like Iron Man. But he's gotten into the hardcore hype. We do butt stuff. I think WoW and like OSRS is like the only two communities that I see a lot of that are like very intertwined with each other. I mean, that from my perspective anyways, but that's probably just because I follow a lot of content creators and have a lot of friends that like play WoW and play RuneScape. So I guess I am a little biased. Little. Kids back in the day had the choice, WoW, RuneScape, and the kids with rich parents got WoW. Yeah, I have like my brother is always trying to get me to play like Deadman modes, like when the Deadman seasons come out. But I'm just so in tune with WoW with the Classic Plus hype that I can't take my eyes off of like what's going on with WoW. I don't know. WoW is just home for me. It's always really been home for me. And Classic Plus is gonna be home for me. Home for a lot of us. How do you think they're gonna line up Classic Plus if they did it this year with like TBC? That's actually an interesting question because I've thought that myself, because like I was talking about how it is weird if they did push back Black Temple by like a month. I mean, I would assume that Black Temple would release at the end of July. Because if Blizzard decides to do Classic Plus at the end of the year, they could maybe tie it in with the launch of like Zalaman. I don't think that obviously they'd want to do a Classic Plus release alongside a major TBC raid like Sunwell. But I mean, I don't really know. I mean, it makes a lot more sense for me that like they do TBC, they get the Sunwell, and then like maybe after Sunwell launch, they do Classic Plus. But it really depends also on what they're doing with TBC, because we don't even know when Black Temple's coming out. We don't have an exact date. We don't have an exact date for Zalaman. We don't have an exact date for Sunwell. Like, we're only just going off of the TBC roadmap. But if the TBC roadmap is accurate, and then like if Black Temple comes out in July, and then we get like a Zalaman like in a month after that in like late September, and then we get like Sunwell in the fall, that would make it a lot easier for like a Classic Plus to launch in like, you know, late of this year, like maybe like a December release or something like that, or like late November. What do you think works better for them? I mean, I personally would... For me, I don't necessarily want them to do a Classic Plus launch alongside a major raid release in TBC, because I do want to fully experience TBC until the end, because I never got to fully experience Black Temple or even Sunwell to its full, like to my fullest ability. But it also just makes sense that, like I said, if they're going to follow the TBC roadmap, then it makes sense, you know, that obviously Classic Plus would come at the end of the year, like following a Sunwell. But like I said, I don't even know. That's just my opinion. Classic Plus is coming months after Sunwell Plateau, 100%. Yeah, that's what I would like to see. I don't want like, because obviously TBC is a hype expansion for most. Wrath wouldn't necessarily be as hype as it was in 2020, like 2019's progression. So that's why I do not want to see Classic Plus launch side Sunwell. And I don't think it will. I think Blizzard knows that. I think they're planning for late this year, or maybe early January of a Classic Plus launch. But like I said, I mean, even if Sunwell launched in November and they did Classic Plus in December, that still works out. Early mid-October. That even works too. Honestly, I feel like a lot of people are kind of crying in terms of like they want like Black Temple and Sunwell to like kind of run a little longer. But I don't know. I don't really care. Like, why would Blizzard release a roadmap with specific seasonal times and then go against it? Like, it's the third time we've experienced TBC. It's not nothing new. Whereas Classic Plus is. Ouch. The leak is fake, obviously. It would never clash Classic Plus with Wrath, since Wrath is such a big money grab. The leak isn't fake. The leak, the Camelot leak is not a fake. Like, your sentence is partially true. Wrath is a money grab because there is a portion of the community that likes playing Wrath. That's true. But you also, I have to understand that Blizzard wouldn't have edged us this long to just come out at like BlizzCon and be like, hey, we're doing like a Classic Plus. going into 2028. And besides, WoW had published an article themselves after Steven, who is a data miner for them, leaked that. So Wowhead's always on top of their shit. So I mean, the only true things I can say about Classic Plus is two scenarios right now. Is one, Blizzard didn't mean for the leak to happen, and maybe there's some anxiety related to that, because obviously with Classic Plus being such a big title for them, that they kind of wanted to wait to closer to BlizzCon. The other potential is maybe they did that on purpose to start building the hype, especially since two of the creators that went to Blizzard to talk to them are now hosting a Season of Discovery event. So that one I'm leaning 99% towards, because I've also talked to another creator who said that Blizzard is most likely going to do this type of shit. They're going to intentionally allow leaks to build the hype. Blizzard don't let stuff leak if they don't want to. True. Because also, why would you allow a leak to happen? Like, if you've been this, because Blizzard's been really, really good at keeping a tight lid on Classic Plus, and then all of a sudden, you let slip heroic and epic licenses for Camelot? Yeah, that's not a fucking accident. But what I meant by them maybe not the case is, like, obviously I know Blizzard wants to get hype rolling for Classic Plus, and having like a intentional leak helps them. But like what I was saying about the first possibility is, what if somebody jumped ahead of them and actually, like, the whole data mine thing is like Blizzard was going to come out and do their own leaking, but this could just also be someone that actually found the leak themselves instead of like a content creator doing it. Either way, though, the leak was designed. What do you mean designed? Blizzard can't keep a lid on anything? I mean, like I said, they've kept the lid on Classic Plus this entire time, and now here we are 3 months before BlizzCon. That's not That's not random. That doesn't happen just by coincidence. If it was an accident, it would have happened like fucking after the state of Azeroth or something, I feel like. Now that I don't know. Now that Classic Plus is unofficially announced, what do you want to see in it? I think something that doesn't also get talked about a lot is like, because in vanilla WoW you have like major cities, like obviously like Stormwind and Orgrimmar are the main hubs. But I'm interested to see if they're going to do any expansion type sanctuary city put in Azeroth, because a lot of people have been wanting Dalaran in its vanilla form, because it's beside Alterac Mountains, obviously the dome, and like a lot of people are wondering if Shatrath, or not, I don't know why I keep saying Shatrath, probably because I'm playing TBC right now, but if something like a sanctuary city like Dalaran is going to be implemented in vanilla. My only thing about a sanctuary city though is I wouldn't want it to take away from like Orgrimmar and Stormwind, so like maybe you leave a lot of the key features of UI and stuff within major cities and just have something like, if it was Dalaran, just kind of be like a hub or something. Do you want leveling up phases? I'm not against it. I think when it comes to Classic Plus at this point, especially because I haven't really fully experienced SOD, I just kind of followed along content-wise with it, that I'm open to really anything. Like my only thing that I'm really against when it comes to Classic Plus, which I know we're probably not going to get, or I shouldn't say that. My biggest thing, my biggest fear is like the WoW token and microtransactions and shit like that. I mean, it's Blizzard. They're most likely going to do it, or maybe add the WoW token in at some point, but I do not want to see it in at the start. Everything else, I should also say I don't want to see automated dungeon finder with the teleport feature. Those like two things, like microtransactions and like the automated looking for dungeon finder, I don't want to see. Everything else I'm kind of open to content wise. And thank you for the thank you Jonathan for the sub. Because like I said too, I would be really interested in seeing how they do content phases if they did level up phases. I think for me, it would probably be best designed if you had new zones around level up phases, instead of doing like, here's level 25 and here's level 40 and here's level 50, all based around like the old vanilla zones, and you can't experience any of the new zones until 60. I don't think they'd do it that way. I feel like I'd want to see new zones if they did level up phases, but either way, like I'm okay if they give us level 60 or something out of the gate, or if they do level up phases, it's fine. I feel like I just don't know what I'm gonna play for a class. I'm heavily leaning towards like rogue, but I'm also interested in seeing what they're actually gonna do if they implement a new class. I think another thing too is if they allow cross-faction like classes now, like if the Horde has access to Paladin would also be a cool option. Rogue, so you can farm an LFG. Rogue is probably my leaning towards my main pick just because it sounds fun. Especially if I want to do PvP. But if they do allow if they allow Paladin on the Horde, because I've heard a lot of rumors that Classic Plus might follow a Cataclysm style like class race combo. So if they do that and they allow Paladin, Paladin is also another choice. Oh my god, dude, he fucking like one hit me. I wish they would add recruit a friend in TBC so you can use them out and share XP. Also, the WoW token would be a huge to fix the economy issue. I have a video coming out as well. And I think this is where I stand on the WoW token right now. Like, I've always been against the WoW token and Classic. Specifically vanilla WoW, because vanilla WoW, there should not be some type of microtransaction or WoW token in it to ruin the gameplay, because it's just so pure. It's just like vanilla, it is the name. But when you like obviously go off into TBC and Raft, you're leaving the base game, you're leaving all of that behind. So like at this point, because Blizzard has no interest in being aggressive with RMT, I just think they need to choose. They need to stop sitting on the fence and like being like playing the middle ground, and they just need to choose between one of the two things. Is you either be super aggressive with RMT and you like ban everybody because that's your TOS technically, which I don't really foresee them doing, because they probably, like, if they were going to do that, they would have done it sooner. And the second option is just implement the fucking WoW token at this point. Like, I feel like most of us know that's what they're leaning towards, but why are you waiting? Especially if we're already getting Classic Plus at the end of the year, and everybody is complaining about RMT right now, especially after like the whole debacle with like, because everybody saw fucking what happened with Dents funneling 250k through their G Bank. Just like, I just don't understand like why you want to sit on the fence or in the background and just, you know, watch from afar as your game is fucking riddled with illegal activity, from bots to gold sellers to the buyers. Like if you're literally have the WoW token back there just waiting to be implemented, and that like that's your fix for it, and you have nothing else, just fucking do it at this point. It's just kind of stupid. And like I said, I do not like the WoW token. I really don't. But the reality is that, like, is it technically a fix to RMT? Yes, it is. But, however, a big but, it is not the only solution because it adds a pay-to-win aspect into a classic version of the game where you are supposed to earn your way through the game. But because this is the third time playing through fresh servers, the WoW token being implemented in it would not be as impactful as like a first experience or even the second. Like, I understand why they didn't do it the second time around in TBC and waited until like Wrath. But at this point, I don't know. I just don't understand why wait. If it's your only solution, you might as well do it. They introduced the WoW token. Does that mean the guild's ban for RMT should be unbanned? They're not going to do that. It would make Blizzard look wishy-washy. And like, this is the funny thing, and I'm a big critic of Blizzard. It's just because I love World of Warcraft, and I just want to see, you know, all of us as Classic players experience the best possible version of Classic. So like, I'm kind of a big mouth. I accept it when it comes to being a critic. And in regards to that, Blizzard is very wishy-washy when it comes to decisions of what they do with RMT. So like, when it comes to Dents, for example, they did, I shouldn't say Dents, I should back up, because there was a guild in EU that was doing GDKP, and they also got deleted. I believe their GM got the banned. And then we fast forward, and then Dents launders a bunch of money through their G Bank, and their GM gets banned, and then some of their raid leaders, but then everybody else gets off scot-free. They're not gonna reverse that decision because it would just make them look even more stupider. I feel like their only thing at this point would just be stamp the WoW token on anniversary, because that's what everybody's kind of expecting them to do, and just move on to fucking Classic Plus. But I will say too that like, when it comes to the WoW token and how it does affect, because people also don't understand at the end of the day, like I said, the WoW token being implemented in Anniversary most likely also means that it's going to get added into Classic Plus, because it's Blizzard's official fix for the problem. And when it comes to Classic Plus, obviously we don't want to see something like the token, but then that also means that they're not obviously going to be aggressive with RMT. So like, we could see Classic Plus have these same issues, and then they're just like, well, we're going to do the token. And then people also ask me, we're like, well, what do you mean by like Blizzard needs to be better at enforcing the TOS? Is that like they literally need to be better at enforcing the TOS? Like, that would be the most ideal solution instead of just adding the WoW token, because most people don't understand the fact that like, Anniversary right now, when it comes to combating RMT, it's mostly just an automated flagging or report system. That is how RMT is dealt with. But keyword, dealt with, it's actually not being dealt with. It's not. The automated flagging and report system actually goes against like, it works in favor of RMT in my mind, because I've said this multiple times already in YouTube videos where like, people who mail shit to their guildies to help them have gotten in trouble by the flagging system, thinking that they're a gold seller. You know, bot mafias mass report people who compete with their prices, and then they get suspended potentially. Two perfect examples of how the automated flagging or report system works. There's no active GM, you know, sitting invisible in the sidelines waiting for somebody to commit illegal activity to punish them with the ban hammer. That doesn't exist in classic WoW like it did in the past. The also big thing that people need to realize too is Blizzard does their ban waves. Yes. But when they do their ban waves, all those accounts are right back up and running shortly after. And when you submit a ticket, it's drastically different from than it was like in the past. Like anytime I've ever submitted a ticket, it takes Blizzard like 72 plus hours to fucking reach back out to me. And it's not in game. It's always through their support website. That's drastically different from like in the past. Like I specifically remember if I had a problem, I literally did an in-game ticket, or I did like when it was first implemented, you could go to the website, you could do an in-game, you could do a ticket, and then a GM would respond you in-game until they added that feature into the in-game support system. And then a GM obviously would also reach out in-game too. That doesn't happen anymore. Literally, it does not happen anymore. Do you think Classic Plus would have GMs? I think in regards to like Classic Plus and GMs, it's like, because right now I feel like Blizzard uses the excuse, whether they publicly say it or don't even want to say it, is the fact that like I feel like it would be easier for Blizzard right now to make the excuse that they don't have the revenue for Classic to implement GMs like they did in the past, especially when like, you know, the versions that we were playing were like the main, you know, versions way back in the day. But they wouldn't really have an excuse if Classic Plus does become, you know, the whole, like, because like the heroic and heroic and epic licenses for the game would mean that it's going to be its own separate game instead of just paying for the subscription and being able to play Classic. You're going to have to buy a base game heroic version or epic version and the subscription to be able to play Classic Plus. So there would be no excuse for Blizzard not to have the revenue at that point to put it towards some type of GM system. Because like I make this comparison a lot, and I know it's probably like a lot of people view it as a bad one, but like private servers did have a lot of them had banning systems that were aggressive, but it came from having a GM system. And the argument though, like I will agree, is that private servers are smaller communities, so they can allow for it. But like I said, I mean, Classic Plus is going to generate its own revenue. So if Blizzard really wanted to, they could have the revenue to put towards GMs, but I don't know. The track record of Blizzard, I don't know if they're going to do that. I feel like it's a lot easier once you normalize microtransactions and the WoW token and just like the automated systems that they have. I feel like it's a lot more easier to just rely on that. Perfect. Need 4 more. Anyone up for more heroic? Need 4 more badges for Bloodlust Brooch. Already badges, same. Need 4 more for Bloodlust. Or I should just say Brooch. I think Mech will get me there. No, probably won't. I'll be 1 away, which is fine. Probably should repair. Yeah. Gonna repair.
Potential customer.
Any of these guys in mech yet? I guess this guy literally came in to get herbs. and another person left and we asked him to stay And he said, I can, but all loot is harder as your name. And his name is Milking It. Oh shit, I think I gotta run out. Oh. I guess logs are being checked now. Trying to do the Mechanar, but I don't know what the fuck these guys are doing. Well, we're all here. I So Classic Plus is confirmed unofficially. Basically unofficially, yes. When's it gonna launch? I mean, we have to basically wait for Blizzard to say that, but I would actually strongly suggest or predict now that it's going to be either late this year or early 2027. The Classic Plus copium is strong. I mean, I feel like anybody that doesn't like... that feels like Classic Plus is a myth still is either one of two things. They're either a complete troll or they are just so fucking far from, like, you know, what is actually going on with the WoW community and, like, you know, any discussions happening in the WoW community. Like, it's actually really funny when anybody comes into my stream sometimes and they're like, you don't know what you're talking about. Classic Plus is not going to happen. And then I ask them what they play. 9 times out of 10, they're a fucking retail player. Like, there's so much empirical evidence now about Classic Plus that it would be stupid to even try to go against it. Like, we have so much info, it's crazy. There has been blue posts, there's been leaks after leaks after leaks. There's been hints, there's been teases. Now we have the Camelot thing. Confirming Classic Plus, basically. Oh, I did that. What do you mean by empirical? So, like, I guess I've just heard it in the medical field because I work in the medical field, but it translates into... So, like, you have theoretical, which is obviously hypothesis, and theory. It's literally just theory crafting, which technically you can do about Classic Plus. And then there's empirical data and evidence to look at the overall situation. So, like, empirical would mean like all the teases and the leaks and the discussions, and then you have theoretical, which is like, for example, like I could say, what is Classic Plus potentially going to be? Maybe there's going to be this, maybe there's going to be that. That would be theoretical because we don't know. But like all the empirical evidence to suggest Classic Plus is coming, like you have to really start from SOD from 2025 and work your way forward. So like obviously SOD is the best first piece of the puzzle when you look at the overall Classic Plus situation, because obviously it's Blizzard's first, you know, expanded vanilla kind of concept that they're learning from. And the developers said that in a blue post, which the blue post in itself is the second piece of big evidence, where Agrand talks about Classic Plus being a testing ground, and they're working on their next project set in the original WoW game design. That's the biggest piece of evidence. And then going forward, you have the State of Azeroth, where Holly Longdale trolled us, saying that, you know, something's coming, and then she never announced it. Another piece of evidence. You have all the leaks and rumors in the community. That's kind of another piece of evidence. You also have creators going to Blizzard, and not just the 5. That's even more empirical evidence. You have creators and Discord communities getting in trouble by Blizzard because they're not supposed to be opening their mouth. That's even more evidence. And now you have Camelot. Ding, ding, ding. It's a lot of fucking evidence. Do we have evidence that more went, not just the 5? I personally don't know. I would say if I knew if more went, I obviously wouldn't name them if I did know who went. But I personally, I don't know of anybody that went outside the 5, but I have a feeling that more will go. And all I do know is there are creators that physically did not go, but have talked to Blizzard already. And like I said, that in itself is also more evidence. So like I said, anybody that wants to like try to troll and say that Classic Plus is like copium, or like, and as I die here, that like it's copium, it's just like no one follows along. No one's like hardcore into like, you know, every single piece of tidbit of information. Like when Blizzard posted like a little banner of Scarlet Enclave, and then in the bottom corner was a bunch of pluses. When are we going to chat on Discord, man? We need to. We need to. Do I have the other key? No, I don't have the other key. For real, we do. Got so much to talk about. We do. We do need to get together. Any real day, Monday through Thursday, like probably leading up to 9, works best for me. Pass. I feel like that would also be a very good video idea for the people that like don't do deep dives or like try to follow along or like don't know anything about like news related articles or what like the community is saying or like, because you know everything I basically just said about evidence supporting Classic Plus would actually be a pretty good video. And I also forgot to name a huge piece is the Classic Plus project website, because now, and I don't think enough people are like getting the hint of this too, that the Classic Plus project website was like founded as a community-based, content creator-based website to push forward the hype for Classic Plus and try to push Blizzard to listen to the community in regards to their surveys. But then when Camelot came out and Jordy also sent the photo of the franchise slate, that also tells you something right there. Like in relation to the content creators talking to Blizzard, because why else would Jordy have that info? Why would a content creator who has been one of the biggest classic content creators pushing classic WoW content have a website about Classic Plus project website and also have access to that photo? And like I said, I think too, though, the way the leak worked out is probably the best way a leak can always work. It's not like, because people don't understand this too. They always think that like they want some content creator to like come out and be like, this is what's happening, A, B, and C. It's not really that best way to work out, because if a content creator or just someone that's big in the community is the first one to leak evidence of some big new announcement of a game, well, first, not only do they just ruin their reputation with that company because they did it first, but like second, it also just hurts them in the long run themselves. And when you see the scenario of what happened, it worked out perfectly in terms of like, if I was a company and I wanted, you know, Camelot to come out, especially like, and I'm like other content creators are in the background waiting for it to happen, you have somebody like a data miner find the info like Steven did, and then he leaks it, and then everybody else are like, okay, he found it. So he's the first one that did it. So like now I'm gonna come and do it, and I can't get in trouble for it. So like it's like the perfect storm that is kind of happening right now in the community. I mean, like obviously you're gonna have like the creators that signed actual NDAs. They're gonna keep quiet, but there's also a difference where like you can have the creators who sign the NDAs, they're going to keep their mouth shut probably like, or up until the NDA ends. But then you're going to have other creators and other players, you know, that are in talks with Blizzard that not necessarily signed NDAs. They didn't get much information maybe about something, but they talked to them, they got tidbits, but they never signed anything. Pulling the weight, I guess. Oh, I forgot more evidence as I sit here in silence. Private servers being shut down. Turtle WoW got shut down, and all these private servers that have gotten shut down all follow the Classic Plus mindset. Turtle WoW, Stormforge, and now a federal lawsuit against Ascension. Whoa, why is that happening? Like when it's kind of funny though when you do look at the overall situation, like when you start from Season of Discovery and go down the rabbit hole of Classic Plus information, there's so fucking much of it. Like I said, it'd be stupid to like think that it's not coming. I'm also just excited too, though, to like finally play a new MMO, because I kind of fell for the whole Ashes of Creation hype. I never bought it. I never bought into the keys or anything, but I was like, I was just looking forward to playing something new while I waited for something like Classic Plus. And it's also funny that like the whole Ashes of Creation rug pull happened. What even happened with that? As far as I know, because like it's obviously it's different, but it started out as a Kickstart campaign, and finally it lifted off, and you know, and they coined themselves Intrepid Studios. That was the company name that was making it. And over time, I believe Steven blames the way that the development of the company went, where basically like a lot of the leadership went to, I guess, like more of like a board, and basically like people came in and they got in positions of power, and they had a lot more influence over it than like Steven did. And like, oh yeah, and like Apathy's right, like people were calling it a scam years before it was proven scam though, unfortunately. But like I said, Steven basically claims that, like, you know, and this happens with a lot of companies, unfortunately, like, you know, you have a small team that starts out, and then a bunch of like what's the word, investors come in, or just other companies, or just people in positions of power that have a lot more influence inside the company. He blames them for kind of leading the reins on the project after that, and didn't like the way that they were going, so he took all the investment money into the project and dipped. And then got, I think, a lawsuit or something filed against them. So I mean, I think that's how it kind of went. I'm not read into the full scenario, but just kind of like, that's just from the outside looking in, that's what I know of. I've heard that it was a scam for years though. I never really wanted to accept it just because I never looked into it. You know, I always saw creators talking about it, but then the moment that there was one guy who was really big into the hype, and I forgot his name. He always like used to have like pizza boxes and shit stacked up in the background. Man, why? And he's also bald. Nothing against that, but but like he always used to talk about Ashes of Creation hype and this and that, and then all of a sudden he decided that he was stopping his YouTube channel, and I was like, huh, that's odd. And then shortly after that, everything happened with fucking Ashes of Creation basically being a rug pull. No, not Asmongold. It was someone completely different. I don't know why I can't remember his fucking name. It's gonna bug me now. I'm gonna have to look it up. Freed. And is everybody needing it or is it greeting it? GG's. Asmongold fits all the criteria. Let me see. I'm gonna find this guy. I know it. I don't know why I can't remember his name though. He was like a really big Ashes of Creation guy. It's gonna bug the fucking shit out of me. Narc. That's who it was. So yeah, I don't know what happened. I guess his YouTube channel got taken down or something. Can we get tier 6 before August, please? I'm going on vacay first week. Ooh. Where are you going on vacation? I want to know. I want to go. Put me in your suitcase. But yeah, Narc was his name, and he made... It's just funny because he made a lot of Ashes of Creation content, and then when he stopped, I was like, that's a little awkward. I live in Greece, so next door to Turkey. Ooh. Istanbul for some kebabs.
Hey, how you doing?
I've never been to the EU. The furthest traveling I've done is 2 cruises to Bonaire, Aruba, Curacao, and the second cruise I did last year was to Jamaica, Mexico, and the Dominican Republic. And this is like farthest I've gone. It's a different world, brother. I want to experience EU. Her family is like really big into cruising, and their plan for the future, probably 2028, maybe even further, is to do like an EU cruise, because like the cruises that I've been on, like the longest was 8 days, and then the other one that we just went on was 6 days. But if you do like a EU cruise, they range from like 2 weeks to like a month, and you just fucking like, pretty sure you start in the EU, you like go all the way up, you hit all, you know, the nice coastal countries, and then you sail back to the US. So that would be like something really interesting to do. Just take a fucking month off of work and just go sail. But I think what I'm going to do, though, is I am going to get off shortly. I'm going to fly back to Shack because I am getting hungry. make some leftover tacos and call it a night. I'm fucking super blitzed. I'm like running off 4 hours of sleep. I went to sleep at 2:30 a.m. and woke up at like 6 or like, yeah, like 6. Yeah, while I go back to chat, I think what I'm gonna do is take my hat off and let my head breathe a little bit from the shit. And then go look at some, because I just find it super funny that like anybody, you look better without the shithead, man. Let's see. Let me see, where is this? Da, 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 da. So I'm going to switch over to this while I fly back and kind of use this as like a stepping stone into a video maybe, but I just kind of want to talk about, because like I find it just so funny that people are always like classic plus copium, and like they just have no fucking idea what they're talking about. But maybe I should fix my camera a little bit. Maybe do this. Hold on. So what we'll do, where is it? So I'm going to pull up this first, because most people do not even know what I'm talking about when I talk about, oh, I got to pull this up too. I keep forgetting. I got to pull up my, here we go. I got to also make this smaller. Make it kind of short. We'll bring it over here. Maybe, yeah, I think that actually works. But like people don't like this article. Obviously anybody that knows about Classic Plus and follows along with its content knows about this article. But it's basically just kind of like a farewell to SOD, the end of SOD, everything that happened, like, you know, basically just kind of like a, you know, what we've learned from SOD and where we're going. And this line basically our next major project set in the original WoW design space. So like that right there is alone is like the biggest piece of evidence that anybody could really ever give you. But then another thing that people do not talk about, which I find very, very, very interesting, which they should be talking about, is found photographs. Like, I don't understand why people aren't talking about that as well, because basically what that means, what that term means, is stripping something of its original content and bringing new artistic life into it. That's also another hidden gem for Classic Plus. Obviously most people talk about this right here, the whole our next major project set in original WoW design space. But then you tie in found photographs and what that actually means. Those are two really huge, important things for Classic Plus. And then you go into something like this, which was posted a couple days ago, but has a lot to do with what has been going on over the last year, where you have the recent federal lawsuit against Project Ascension, where I should also mention the Project Epoch, where a lot of players who loved Epoch got folded into Ascension. Ascension is one of the largest last Classic Plus style private servers coming to an end. Blizzard already won their cease and desist order against Turtle WoW. They also gave another one to Stormforge. All four of these, technically, with Epoch, they're all Classic Plus kind of style servers. And then this also goes on to even reference kind of like how history is repeating itself with Nostalrius, because before Classic even launched in 2019, you had vanilla private servers like Nostalrius getting shut down. Blizzard invited the devs of Nostalrius to come and talk to them about, the demand for Classic WoW, and here we are, fucking 7 years later. But all of this really is just it's technically three big pieces of evidence from the Blue Post and those two things, and then you have all these private servers getting shut down, and then not to mention the community chatter going into what was found from Stiven. So I'm going to bring that up too as I look up his beautiful name. Out here doing the Lord's work. So the leads us into what Stiven found, and like I said earlier, Stiven is a data miner for Wowhead. He also builds websites. He has a lot of credibility, and he data mined heroic and epic licenses for World of Warcraft Camelot. And that actually says a lot in itself, not just the title, because Camelot could technically just be an internal code name for what Classic Plus actually is. Blizzard could actually rename it something completely different. But the fact that heroic and epic licenses are mentioned in this tells the story that Classic Plus is not going to be your standard run-of-the-mill, you only pay a $15 monthly sub and then you get, obviously, to play Classic WoW. No, you're going to have to pay your sub, and then you're also going to have to pay the base game or the heroic version of the game and then the epic version of the game. Which also leads me into what are those versions of the game going to encompass? Because obviously with the more higher of a base version of the game that you buy, it's going to maybe add in some type of microtransaction type thing. Like maybe you get some type of transmog, maybe you get a mount, maybe you just get some more in-game things. Who knows? So that's something that also should be talked about, which I don't think is also being talked about a lot. But the other big piece of evidence that ties into this is because a lot of people first saw World of Warcraft Camelot and they were like, oh, who knows what this is? It could be anything. It could be something for retail. It could be a mobile app. It could be something that Blizzard doesn't even decide to push. It could just be an internal code name that they're working on that has nothing really to do with anything. And then Stiven found that it is related to patch 1.6, which obviously is a vanilla patch. That right there, these two things are huge. And then it goes even further with when I pull up Jordy said with the Camelot data mine last night, it gives a lot of credence to this leaked image. Camelot likely Classic Plus end of year 2026. Wrath of the Lich King end of 2026 or early 2027. Then another round of fresh in 2028. Also new RTS and Arthas RPG. So if I can somehow zoom into this, I guess I'm stupid. I wonder if I can just like here. What I'll do actually, because Steven actually, regardless of the photo, but I'll just kind of talk about it while I'm here. But Jordy posted this image after the whole, data mine of Camelot came out, and then it has retail basically expansions at the top and their timeline. It has anniversary going all the way from Kata to TBC anniversary, which we're in now, to Wrath of the Lich King anniversary in Q1 of 2027. And then what follows after that with era type realms, progression types realms. Oh, we get classic fresh, which is what a lot of the community has been talking about, is an anniversary recycle server or an anniversary trilogy server where servers just progress from vanilla to Wrath and then reset. That seems like what may be the case. As I go further, I kind of do want to pull up the photo that Steven shared, because it is a lot more clearer, regardless if it is a fucking AI enhancement or not. Perfect. Here we go with the little Murloc. But like I said, a lot of the community talking about anniversary trilogy recycle server. That most likely seems to be the case going forward into the future. And then we have Camelot. So another big thing is Peekaboo. Is he also made a video about this, talking about it, which, where is all of the info going forward with Camelot? Where is it? That must mean that they have a ton of info or a ton of in-game content when it comes to Classic Plus. Like, it's literally here you have Camelot, and then it goes all the way to basically almost 2030, and there's nothing here. So whether they're just keeping it very secretive and they don't want to release anything, I mean, that seems like it's a lot of content for us. And then going forward, you have what Jordy was talking about is the Warcraft Chronicles RTS. I am kind of interested in those two things as well. But just Camelot Classic Plus is the biggest thing. So all of this evidence from, SOD ending and their next project, to the private servers getting shut down, to, all this Camelot leaked info, it's huge. So anybody that feels like Classic Plus is just some big fake that Blizzard is trying to pull off when it comes to BlizzCon, that's not the case. If you have been following the Classic Plus or just the Classic community in general in the discussion, there's so much info when it comes to Classic Plus. And also, I forgot to mention, when Holly Longdale at the State of Azeroth, which I'll probably just kind of pull it up when I make a video or something about it. But when Holly Longdale came out of the State of Azeroth and herself, was about to announce something back in January and then didn't, that is also a big piece of evidence. You have so much stuff pointing to Classic Plus, and I do believe, because I used to be under the impression, and like I said, I'm okay, I'm willing to be wrong. I'm a human being. I have my own flaws just like anybody else. But I was under the impression that something like Classic Plus was going to come out most likely at the end of 2027 or probably 2028. It just made sense to me because that's usually how Blizzard did things in the past. But with the evidence coming from Agrin saying what he did in his blue post, to the private servers getting shut down, to Holly Longtail teasing us back in January. There's no real reason why they would go and wait. Although there's no real reason why they would go and wait all the way into 2028 or late 2027. Like, I will also say that we truly don't know because they haven't said anything until BlizzCon. But I don't like why would I want to question a data miner from Wowhead? Why would I also question Jordy, who's like one of the biggest classic WoW developers in the community? And then you also have other content creators that have been coming out and saying that it does make sense, that they can't really say anything, but it makes sense that Classic Plus is coming out late 2026, because when you think about it, Vanilla WoW already exists. The Classic Plus in itself is literally just vanilla expanded, and vanilla already exists. So like Blizzard has been working on Classic Plus since Season of Discovery. Here we are almost 2 years after that. Or I should say we are 2 years after that, basically. So for Classic Plus, or I should say World of Warcraft Camelot, or whatever it does get called, to come out in late 2026 or even early 2027, I would put money on that at this point. But like I said, the reason why I just kind of wanted to talk about all this is because I get a lot of people in my comments or my streams that just want to come out and say, Classic Plus copium, blah, blah, blah. Like, well, here's all the evidence to support something against, the whole Classic Plus copium BS. But with that said, everybody, I'm gonna hop back over to WoW. I just kind of wanted to maybe use what I was just saying for like a video in the future. I'm gonna go make some tacos and go to sleep. And I'll be on tomorrow to get my one last badge of justice. Or maybe even do it Monday. I really, really want to make a character on Dream Sites, like a Blood Elf Paladin, and play with my brother. But have a good night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Apathy, again, for tuning in. I will see everybody tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern. Have a good night.